All right, welcome to another episode of The Hub. And today, since we're getting halfway through the year now of 2026, we thought we'd visit what's going on with the real estate market. So we've brought real estate agent Shawn McFarlane into the set. Welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot for having me, John.
No, thank you. And I know this is a big topic for a lot of people because people are finding it hard to buy houses and that. So we thought we'd bring you in. So before we get into the housing market itself, why don't we give a little background about Shawn and what got you into real estate to begin with?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm 52 years of age, born and raised here in Pembroke. Father of two young boys in their teenage years and been married 25 years. Followed my wife to school when she went to Ryerson in Toronto. And then we relocated back to the Valley 26 years ago. And for me, I got into real estate primarily because I was Eastern Ontario sales manager for a parking company. So the biggest client of mine would have been the Ottawa Airport. It's where the parking gates are and stuff. We sold all that stuff. Unfortunately, the company downsized, so I lost my job and looked at my wife and I said, I'm still really interested in real estate. And she said, you know what, I'll support it. You do your license, and here I am today. So, this is year 15 in the industry myself, and I'm very grateful to have had the career I have to date.
Awesome. And with the market the way it is now, you're probably rich beyond belief now. I'm just kidding. We all like to think
That's a whole other story. That's a whole other story.
So when people do contact you and they're asking you about the housing market, what exactly are they asking you?
So again, every client's needs and wants are different. So sometimes, for instance, because working from home is still quite a popular thing, a lot of people are like asking, well, what's the speed of the high-speed internet here? What's the up? What's the down? On that kind of thing. School is also always important in regards to, hey, what school zone, if they have children, is one. And then sometimes too, depending on what they're doing for a living, for instance, if they're a military member that's up at Garrison Petawawa, they have to be within a geographical time limit or kilometer range of base. And so you have to kind of get those questions answered, and it's something that is always quite common.
Definitely. And with the way that since the pandemic, I'd like to say, of course, prices of homes have gone up. We're halfway through the year now. Where do you see the housing market right now? And maybe where do you see it going through the summer?
So we're tracking pretty well. So we're up year to date from year end last year, 8%. So the average sale price right now in Renfrew County as a whole is like $501,000. Okay. Whereas last year we were like $460,000 at year end. So what we're seeing now is days on market are starting to creep up. So the average in Renfrew County is 46 days on market before it's actually sold. But again, that's the county as a whole. But when you start getting into specifics, and people can definitely, reach out to me to find out that. Because again, every market center and areas are different. Like Ottawa Valley takes longer to sell versus Petawawa. Pembroke is slower than Petawawa units selling. So it all depends. But as a whole, the county, we're rolling around like 46 days before a home is sold. So.
And do you find, when it comes to price ranges, where do you find more higher? And do you find Pembroke price-wise higher than, say, Petawawa? Do you find Renfrew's maybe higher because it's closer to Ottawa, that kind of an idea?
I find that the Petawawa housing, it tends to be a lot more expensive, but as well outlining areas like, say, Round Lake, so Killaloe and stuff like that, because of the waterfront homes and the values of those being so high, they can bump up the numbers that the average sale price is in those areas, but it's not necessarily the true picture, because if you pull out, say, waterfronts that are selling for $1 million or like over $750,000 out of Round Lake or Lake Clear, all of a sudden that area, the average sale price is actually much lower than what it's showing. So again, even though I have data points, if you strip them of certain criteria, you can actually then get more of a better synopsis on what's going on.
And do you find with Petawawa, say, Deep River for lack of places, stuff like Base and say CNL and Deep River, Chalk River type of thing?
Yep.
Do you find Chalk River, Deep River, Petawawa, that makes the market maybe a little bit more high-end price-wise just because there is the need?
Yeah, and a lot of times when you get those transient buyers that are relocating to the area for CNL or for Base, what happens is that a lot of times they want to stay close proximity to where they're working. They do venture out, some of them, but a lion's share of them will stay in close proximity. And so it does bump the average price in those areas because those are higher paying jobs, in those particular areas. And again, it's just the proximity for them. So
definitely. And going into the fall and maybe into the first quarter of 2027, do you see much changes happening, or do you think it's going to remain kind of status quo?
So I like to say in the Renfrew County area, we're very fortunate to have, I call it a hyper bubble that we live in, because a lot of our jobs here aren't manufacturing based. A lot of them are federal, provincial, and municipal jobs. And so we haven't seen a lot of people lose work. And so what it's done is that instead of our market dropping, where a lot of people hear the noise of, oh, well, Toronto and outlying areas, they're down 15, 20, 30% on values, we are not. Because again, we are not impacted by any of those changes. So I do foresee that what we'll see different coming into the fall and the winter is that I think days on market are going to creep up a little longer. Because like when I started 15 years ago in this business, it wasn't hard to see a house on the market for 80 to 160 plus days. So are we going to get to that point? I don't think so. But again, like anything else in the world, everything's trends, right? And there's always like a 10-year trend. And I think we're kind of more level right now, and I think we'll stay that way.
No, definitely. And do you find what's changed when it comes to looking at houses? Like you say, they're on the market now 40, 50 days sometimes. Is it because people are working from home a lot and they're looking for a space that's going to be comfortable to work from home? Or does that even have a factor in it at all?
It does sometimes, for sure, because again, there's always this stigma where people want to have a 3-bedroom home and all 3 bedrooms have to be on the same level, even though they don't even maybe have a child, but they just have this stigma that they want all 3 bedrooms on the same floor, whereas the 2 ups, 1 down bedroom scenario, they take a little longer to sell, so their days on market are a lot longer. But there are more and more people that are looking for specific office space, per se, and as well, I've noticed now less and less people are using these in regards to being able to do renovations. And so a buyer will pay up a good price for a home if they don't have to do anything, versus, hey, I have this wonderful home here that structurally is amazing, it just needs some cosmetic updates.
A fixer-upper.
Yeah, but unfortunately a lot of people can't envision that anymore, because a lot of times they don't have the skill set, and they're just like, my pocketbook's already strapped from the other costs of living, the way things have gone up, that they're just like, I can't afford to hire someone to do that because I don't have the skills to do it.
No, exactly. And I know that's a big thing, because I'm noticing a lot of people that are working from home, they want an office space or something, turning a bedroom into that. But no, I thank you for coming. Do you have anything else you think maybe our listeners might want to know, or?
I think the main thing is that, your home is still going to be the most valued asset that you're ever going to have in your life. It's very important to take care of that asset. A lot of times, like, if you have to repair the roof or put a new furnace in, those are items that don't add value in our world. It's just the cost of ownership. It's just like if your car, right? You need the tires on it for it to work. So it's like, sooner or later you're gonna have to replace those tires. It's the same thing when it comes to a home. The only time you'll see like the bump, say on a roof, if you've gone from like an asphalt shingle to a metal roof, well then that's different per se. But when it comes to general maintenance, it's a cost of having that property, right? But it's one of those things where I find that people think that there's, oh, I should get all that back. And it's like, well, no, I'm sorry. Or the same thing whenever if they hire someone to put in a new kitchen, if the kitchen's $30,000, and if half of that usually is the cost of the install, well, you're not getting the install back.
No, definitely. And I think, like you said, it is an investment, because 99% of the time that investment is going to go up in price over the years.
Yep.
Whereas you buy a car, it depreciates right when you drive it off the lot. Same with your goods that you put in your house and that. So it's something that they really want to take time and make sure they get what they want to get. So I want to thank you for coming today. You definitely threw a lot of good information out to people. Maybe we can get you back on again next year in 2027. We can see how things have changed and stuff.
No, for sure. I'd love to have it. Thanks a lot for having me.
Definitely. Thank you. And for all of you out there, thanks for tuning into another episode of The Hub. Make sure you tune in every week, where you get to see people like Shawn and other businesses in here and some of the events. So until next time, this is John from The Hub, and we'll see you later.